meeting to order today, March 16th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Could everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. 103, board recognitions. That's what happens. Your shoes get too big.
All right, good evening, board, community. I wrote a few words that I wanted to share and to really highlight School Board Appreciation Month. And I feel like that it provides us an opportunity as a district and a community to recognize and show gratitude for our board members, for their commitment, dedication, and hard work. They are responsible for making very hard decisions that affect the education and overall well-being of all of our students in the district. And it's important for us to acknowledge their efforts. While we are recognizing all of our board members tonight, we will be recognizing Miss Maria Langston tonight, as this is her last board meeting with us. So I was thinking about what I wanted to share, and I remember a conversation that she and I were having over coffee, and she was like, I believe in you, you're gonna figure it out. And she was right. The thing that we talked about, I was able to work through and see what I needed to see at the end. But in the beginning, I didn't see it. And so she's been a constant supporter, giving me context and historical information that's needed in order for me to experience success in the district. So I am grateful. I am humble. She was a part of the board who allowed me an opportunity to serve. And without further ado, I am going to invite Mayor Thompson up to share a few words.
School Board, good evening, Superintendent, good evening, Maplewood Richmond Heights staff and the residents who are here. Mayor and former Mayor of Maplewood are here. Thank you for coming. We're here to honor a long-time board member who's retiring at the end of this year. Can I get Maria to come on up, please? So I'd like to read the proclamation from the City of Richmond Heights. In recognition of Maria J. Langston, on the occasion of retirement from the Maplewood Richmond Heights School District Board of Education, whereas Maria has demonstrated exceptional leadership in the Maplewood Richmond Heights School District, serving as a Board of Education Director for more than 15 years and contributing significantly to the growth and success of the district.
Hear, hear.
Whereas Ms. Langston has been a tireless advocate for the students and staff of the district, promoting high academic standards, supporting professional development opportunities, and fostering a positive and inclusive school culture. Whereas Ms. Langston has cultivated productive and enduring relationships with municipal leaders, employees, and citizens throughout the City of Richmond Heights, and whereas Ms. Langston has conducted the district's business with full attention to fiscal responsibility and accountability for the purpose of advancing the best interests of regional taxpayers and other stakeholders. And this is the last whereas now. And whereas the City of Richmond Heights recognized Ms. Langston's many contributions to the Mid-County region and wish to honor her legacy. Now therefore, the Richmond Heights City Council, on behalf of its citizens and employees, hereby expresses deepest appreciation to Maria J. Langston on her legacy of outstanding service to the entire Maplewood Richmond Heights community, and wishes her good luck, good health, much happiness, and into the future.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can just stay up here. You got one more cup.
Oh.
So,
For the folks that know me very well, I'm going to try not to cry.
You got this. It's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. See?
I didn't get a hug.
I started on the school board, and Maria was assigned to be my mentor. And I had the opportunity as her mentee to sit next to her. And we were writing notes to each other, and she would tell me, shh, stop it. But she would also direct me to the right path. And so when I would wear her out about questions regarding housing and how the school board could affect that, she said, this is not the place. She said, council needs to do their job. And I said, I need to be on council. And so I went, thank you.
And you did it.
Yep. So, as the mayor of Maplewood and a former awesome school board member with an awesome school district, yes, in recognition of Maria J. Langston on the occasion of her retirement from the MRH School District Board of Education. Whereas Maria J. Langston has demonstrated exceptional leadership in the Maplewood Richmond Heights School District serving, is this the same one, Ed? Okay. Look, we're still doing the same thing. We're just cutting up. Okay. Serving as a Board of Education Director for more than 15 years and contributing significantly to the growth and success of the district. And whereas Mrs. Langston has been a tireless advocate for the students and staff of the district, promoting high academic standards, supporting professional development opportunities, and fostering a positive and inclusive school culture. And whereas Mrs. Langston has cultivated productive and enduring relationships, amen, with municipal leaders, employees, and citizens throughout the city of Maplewood. And whereas Mrs. Langston has conducted the district's business with full attention to fiscal responsibility and accountability for the purpose of advancing the best interests of regional taxpayers and their stakeholders. And whereas the city of Maplewood recognizes Mrs. Langston's many contributions to the Mid-County region and wish to honor her legacy. Now therefore be it resolved, the mayor of the city of Maplewood expresses deepest appreciation to Maria Langston for her legacy of outstanding service to the entire MRH community and wishes her well in her future endeavors, which is actually on the Human Services Commission for the city of Maplewood.
And the foundation board that she started to.
So pretty much I put her to work, okay? So she's retired from y'all, but then I'm like, okay, come on. So also with this proclamation, I would like to present you with the key to the city of Maplewood. Thank you. She didn't get a key with you, man. Oh, I need to put this down. I don't know what to do. It's a lot.
Your proclamation said Maplewood.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Here, let me get this. Make sure.
Oh, thank you very much. We're done.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, y'all. Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
It's Vince and Mike.
Oh, okay, good.
All right, so they'd much rather hear from you, Maria, than Vince and Mike. But, come on up, Mike. Sure. So, speaking on behalf of my many wonderful staff colleagues, administrative colleagues, I wanted to thank you, Maria, because a lot of times I've been presenting in front of the school board for many years. And it's not really nerve-wracking because often the crowd's a little small, but sometimes we talk about tough things, hard topics, challenging issues. And the one thing that always gave me comfort is knowing that you would be here, because you're always so positive and so affirming and so kind. And even when we had really hard conversations. And so I was never really all that nervous because we had small crowds. It wasn't always filmed, but mostly because you were here. And I really miss that. Thank you so much.
So I still remember we were talking about tonight the first time I met Maria, and I went up to her and said, so, you know, which, I was new to the district, and so which one of these kids is yours? You know, and she did not point to Mark. Okay? But she did point to Michael, and we started having this great conversation about me growing up as a board member's kid. And I really kind of feel ever since that conversation, Maria kind of became like my Maplewood mom, even though she's younger than me. Okay? But I've always appreciated just that straight shooting, motherly towards me, and the idea that I could always count on her to make decisions based on kids, and that she would confront me if she felt that I wasn't, and that she would also, decisions were made based on kids, but also district success. And that is something that I feel if, you know, we all just keep at the forefront in all the decisions that we make, we'd be channeling our inner Maria. And I just want to say thank you for all the support over the years.
Mr. Langston, would you like to say some words?
Yeah. So, welcome to the roasts of Maria. Michael and Matthew, come on up here.
This is being recorded.
Oh, darn. Okay, no cussing, right? Okay. So, first, 3 minutes? Okay. Tough room. It's a tough room. So,
It's almost like being
I know. There's 3 people that are here looking down on us tonight. Her dad, her mom, and her brother. I'm sorry. Okay. Her mom was a school board member for many years, so, okay. And they're here. I know they're here with us tonight. So I was wrapping up being mayor, and Maria came to me and said, I think I want to try this school board thing. I'd like to do it. And I said, honey, why? Why in the world would you want to do that? And she said, because I want to help my community. I want to make a change in my community, and I want to affect my community. And that, I think those are the exact words that you told me. And here we are 15 years later. We have 2 alumni here, both Eagle Scouts, and the Eagle projects were done for MRH, by the way, which is kind of crazy. But the pillar of the community is definitely this school. This is it. People might come because we've got a good police department, a great mayor. We've got a good fire department, but they come because of the school. And it's because of the hard work that all of you have done. And thank you for leading the way and getting our kids through school, because it means everything to us. And it's, our communities, Richmond Heights and Maplewood are like a jigsaw puzzle, I think. And if one of the pieces is missing, it just doesn't work. Each one of you is part of that jigsaw puzzle. And as a taxpayer, as a citizen of the community, I cannot thank you enough for everything you've done. And we love you, Maria. Thank you for raising us all. You guys have anything you want to say?
So you all know my mom as someone who always has the best interest of the kids at mind. I know her as the person who at least once a week tells me, Michael, you can't wear that outfit when you go out with your girlfriend. I know her as someone who is my rock, who is probably the strongest person I know. She can open a pickle jar with no problems, and she also, whenever I have any issues whatsoever, she's my first call. She's the first person I talk to. She's the one who I confide the most in. I remember when she got elected, I was in Mrs. Sarah Hancock's class back in like 3rd grade, and how just kind of cool it was. I was the kid of a mayor, and then at the same time I was the kid of a school board member. Felt like every time I got put in timeout, it was going to be written about by Doug Miner. So, but through all of that, as I grew up, I kind of started to realize just how important of a job that she was doing. That even in instances where it seemed like we were going to lose, that mom always was doing what she knew was right. And that's the best thing, that I know that my mom no matter what time of day it was, no matter what the situation was, Mom knew that what she was doing was for the best of us, not just as her kids, but as kids of this district. And that is what makes me the most proud, is that my mom knew that what she was doing was for us.
Okay, this is where I'm a little worried.
I didn't know I was going to give a speech today, so
It's a hard act to follow, isn't it?
yeah, I know. Especially with a Doug Minor reference, that was good. Yeah, so my mom got elected back when I was just in preschool, so I literally can't remember a time when she wasn't on the school board. And kind of growing up with that, you know, it obviously helps as a student. You're like, oh, my mom's on the school board. You know, I can't be in trouble. But it was helpful because I knew no matter what was happening with our school district, the person I trust the most in the world was going to be helping out and making sure that the decisions would not only help me, but also my fellow students, and as well as the teachers. But on a completely separate note, I just want to say you're a fantastic mother. I couldn't ask for a better mother, and every day I'm thankful that you are my mom, and I love you.
And Tanya's always had bail money. Okay? All right.
I really have to talk to somebody about making me come after that. Maria, thank you. Words cannot express how much of an amazing human being you are. I have been honored to serve with you. You have made me a better woman, a better person, a better parent, a better school board member. Sorry, I'm crying. And I am sorry to see you go, but I am excited because I know that you're gonna wreak havoc in a good way wherever you end up, and that you'll still be a part of our district and a part of our family. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what comes for you next. I wish you well in your semi-retirement, because apparently Nikki doesn't understand what that means. And I look forward to working with you and collaborating in other projects in the future. So, with that said, I have a resolution. You want to come on back up?
Oh, that's a long one.
I know, right? A resolution by the Maplewood Richmond Heights School District Board of Education to designate the MRH Central Office as the Maria J. Langston Administrative Center.
Take a minute. She now has real estate with her name on it.
Some of you don't know what that means.
Whereas Maria J. Langston has been an exceptional leader in the Maplewood Richmond Heights School District, serving as a Board of Education Director for 15 years and contributing significantly to the growth and success of the district. And it's not on here, but keeping us online. Thank you. Whereas Ms. Langston has been a tireless advocate for the students and staff of the district, promoting high academic standards, supporting professional development opportunities, and fostering a positive and inclusive school culture. Whereas Ms. Langston has also been a strong supporter of the district's facilities and infrastructure, overseeing numerous construction and renovation projects that have improved the learning environment for our students and staff. Whereas the Maplewood Richmond Heights School Board recognizes Ms. Langston many contributions to the district and wishes to honor her legacy by naming the district's administrative center in her honor. Now therefore be it resolved, the Maplewood Richmond Heights School Board hereby designates the district central office located at 2531 South Big Bend Boulevard as the Maria J. Langston Administrative Center. Be it further resolved, the district will hold a dedication ceremony in honor of Mrs. Langston to be attended by members of the board, district staff, community members, and other invited guests. Be it further resolved, the district will work with Mrs. Langston and her family to develop a plaque or other commemorative display to be installed in the Administrative Center in recognition of her contributions to the district. Adopted and approved by the Maplewood Richmond High School Board on this 16th day of March 2023.
I've ugly cried more in the last 15 minutes than probably in the last 15 years here, right? Thank you all. I'm obviously very overwhelmed. I've done a lot of these for people, and I'm usually pretty good with words, but I have very few words today to say. Mark mentioned my mom inspired me years ago. She served on a board for nearly 25 years. And so I knew what I was getting myself into when I got into this, but I never thought that I would still be here 15 years later. It's very wonderful to me that my first meeting, the people here were my 2 kids, my husband, and my best friend, Tanya. That's me. Who I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those 4 individuals. And thank you for having executive privilege over the last 15 years of when sometimes it's really hard to be a board member, but always reminding me why I did what I did. It's been a true pleasure. It's an honor of my lifetime to have served this district. You know, I look around the room. Gosh knows I could probably talk for a half hour now, but I'll keep it brief. You know, since I've been involved in this district, Kat's been here with me. And Kat, thanks for keeping us legal. When in doubt, Kat was the call. Vince, you're the rock of MRH. With no Vince, there's no MRH. Chris, you were the band teacher when I started, and I remember always thinking, oh, he knows a lot about tech. Oh, I wonder if he could do the finance job, and look at you now, and thanks for keeping us straight. And thanks for humoring my love for real estate and playing the game with me on it. And all of you, Benita, Chris, all of you, thank you for your service to this district, and to all the board members I've served with and the board members I currently serve with now. Ralph, wow, we saw a lot together, didn't we? My goodness. Nikki, shh. But I think the most important thing is I always just wanted to make a difference. And I've said it to so many different people that have been in my shoes before that are better at this than I ever will be, is that you made a difference. And if I can do one thing, it's if I made the difference. And so thank you for allowing me to have that opportunity, and thank you for being part of this journey. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not dying. I'm still in the community, and the greatest gift I think as a community you can have, and as a board and as a school district, is that you raise that next generation of advocates and supporters. And when I made the decision not to do this again, my son said, I'll do it. And I said, let's graduate with our master's degree first. But it is my hope and desire that the next generation, with our new board members that will be coming on, and with some of our alums, that we'll have more of our alums sitting in these seats helping guide the future of this district. So thank you. I love you all. And this is very overwhelming, and I very much appreciate it.
So I don't usually have a lot to say unless it has to do with money, technology, or music, or real estate,
or baseball.
As of late. Or baseball, yeah. But what I will say is MRH has been here a long time. It's going to be here a long time longer, and it's been an honor to serve while we are the current stewards of it at this point in time. I can't think of anyone more deserving of the honor of having this building named after her. So with that, I would like to, while we're still very early in the design stages, we have added a new piece of real estate to the district roles. And I'd like to show you some of those concepts on what we think this could look like. for the inside.
My man Ed told us.
It's beautiful. It is an honor. Thank you.
Goodie for you. So some people told me you like Disney, of course the Cardinals, and you know I like making baskets and lots of Twizzlers, and I've bought all of the ones that I liked. So on behalf of, yes, me and my team. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You need to call this meeting to order.
Well, then I'd like to make a motion as the next most senior board member that we amend our agenda tonight, Madam Secretary, to include adding the Maria J. Langston Administrative Center resolution to the board agenda this evening.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Your flowers. It was top secret.
One more.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and for helping.
Take a minute.
Yeah.
School board.
Thank you, school board.
Thank you, school board.
Thank you, school board.
Thank you, school board. Looks good.
Thank you, school board. Thank you. Thank you, school.
We get it.
Oh wow, you put pictures up. Thanks. All right. Do we have anyone for public forum?
We have Ralph Posley this evening.
Oh, come on up, Ralph.
I'll try to be brief.
You're a preacher. How can you be brief?
Well, I know, that's hard.
3 minutes, Ralph, 3 minutes.
Well, I just want to thank the school board for all that they do, and I know you guys do a tremendous job, and this week is special to observe our boards, and a lot of people don't really recognize what school boards do, and I appreciate the fact that I was able to serve on this school board, and I definitely want to show a little bit of appreciation for one person here who played a big part of me being on this school board. And I can distinctly remember as I think Marie had not even served even a full year on the school board, she called my wife and asked her about me being on the school board, and my wife told her she'd have to talk to me. And Marie called me on my job, and I knew something was up. I said, this must be important. And at the time she says, have you considered running for school board? And I had actually served a few years prior for a year as filled in for an individual who left the board. And I didn't really think much about it, but she says, please consider running. And between her and Nelson, these were the two people that encouraged me, but Marie had a big impact on me. And she invited me to her husband's kind of end of the term as mayor celebration. And we had a great time, and we got to talk, and she just says, this is all about community. And she told me how it meant so much to just share in being a part of being a school district that has had a lot of wonderful things going on. We were in the midst of, in the early 2000s, having a brand new superintendent, and she did some outstanding things. And I saw what was going on, and I wanted to be a part of it. And Marie was just one of those people who inspired me. And when I got elected, she was one of the first person who congratulated me. But she always was there for me, and she always teased me. She says, well, he's a man of a few words. And I always told her I saved my words for Sunday morning service. But I always was impressed by her ability to contact with people and her background. She knew what was going on. She knew how to talk to the right people in the community. I remember how we went out and we talked to people when it came time to get money from our residents. And we saw all age groups. And she just had this great talking point, and she just showed her heart and soul and wanted to do more for this school board than anybody that I had ever met. Her and Nelson's were probably the two people that played a big part on me being on the school board. So I want to thank Marie for all that she has done for the school district and how she inspired me to see some great things can happen when you have 7 people who commit their lives to this. She always told me, she said, well, the pay is not great and there's not much benefits. And, but it's dedication, and that's what it takes. And I thank God for her and the entire school board. I can say Nelson, Katie, and Marie are the ones that we probably went through a lot in the last probably 14, 15 years. And we experienced 3 different superintendents. And there's some challenges. And I always realized that particularly one school board member, and maybe I shouldn't mention his name, but I know Marie would go head to head and toe to toe with Nelson about certain things. And so she wasn't afraid to speak up and speak her mind. But I think about all the great accomplishment that she thought about these kids first in this district. And she made a difference, and she made a difference to influence me to realize it's about the children. We had money problems, but it seems like through prayer, we got the money we needed to do everything we needed to in this district. We got the people to do what we needed to do. There were people who got hired who we didn't think we could hire, but Marie says, oh yeah, we can get them. So she always had this positive thinking going on, and I thank her for her husband and her kids. They became family to me. So, you know, I tell people she's kind of like my second wife on the school board. A sister. Yeah. So, well, I got one wife who's enough to handle, but I want to thank Marie for just maybe pushing me along at times and giving me her insight, and I thank her for just encouraging me to be a part of this board. And it seemed like I got elected each time, even when sometimes I thought, well, it's close, but it seemed like I won. But I thank you all again for having this great person on the school board, and she will be dearly missed. And I think my 3 minutes are up, so I'm going to sit down, and I want to just tell Marie I love her family, and I will always be here to help you guys in any way. In this whole district, I'm always here. So I appreciate Marie and the Maplewood Richmond High School District. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can I get an approval of the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consent agenda approved. Okay, 301, under study items, E-rate.
Okay, well, on to more mundane matters. I know how this board loves when it is E-rate season, so I'll keep this brief and to the point. So E-rate can be broken down into two categories, Category 1 and Category 2. Category 1 is that brings our services into our buildings, like our internet service, and then connects our buildings, fiber optics, to connect our buildings so that this network can do what it does for our staff and our students. Category 2 is the stuff that we connect those wires to. So this year, we have our high-speed broadband and voice services, which includes our fiber optic connections between the buildings, are up for bid. That bid window does not close to the end of the month, so I don't have anything for you to approve yet. So next month, we'll be bringing you the companies that were chosen who won those bids. And Category 2, we have edge switches and all the boring stuff that goes in all the closets that will connect those services to. So we're right now about 50% funded, and that's based on our free and reduced lunch rate. So we'll be asking for budget amounts somewhere in the neighborhood of $75,000, which is 50% of the total cost of both the equipment and the services that we'll be asking you to approve. Are there any questions?
And when you bring it next meeting, you'll show us what we paid for all that stuff previously, remind us what that was, and show us how that compares to the new.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chris, for putting my least favorite thing on my last agenda.
Timing.
The best.
All right, copier, please.
Okay, I get all the boring stuff. So here comes the copiers. There's nothing exciting here, but we are at the end of the lease period, so it's time to refinance that lease so that we can dovetail right in. We'll be replacing, I believe it's 11 of our copiers. We'll be keeping 2 of them, the low volumes, and we'll be getting 2 large printers, high volume printers, color printers, because the majority of our overages are related to color printing. It's really expensive. Somewhere in the neighborhood of about 11 cents per impression. So with these larger, higher volume printers, we'll be able to drop that per sheet cost quite a bit and save us some money. So the numbers are there. I don't need to read them to you. This is a fixed line item in our budget and will likely always be. It's a lot better to lease these than it is to own them. So I will be asking you to approve this evening so that we can move this forward.
Okay, any questions? All right, construction change orders.
Here we go. So the change orders that's not the document I wanted, excuse me. The change orders this month are relatively small, to the tune of $8,300-ish. There is a lot of stuff going on, but we did promise you that once we got more underway and out of the ground on Building A, that the change orders would slow down. I can't promise that's always going to be the case each month, but this month we were only $8,354.18 in changes to our original contract, and those changes were related to, we had to steal some door frames from the Building A to do some work this summer just because of the supply problems. So we had to reorder those because now Building A needs those door frames. There was some stuff that froze and broke as it relates to the construction, some flooring changes, plumbing, electric, and we took out a wall up in Bethany Novi's math classroom to better separate the sound from the middle school commons. So that's all part of the summer work that was concluded just a few months ago. Any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Academic calendar changes, Dr. McGee.
Yeah, not as exciting as construction changes, but let's talk a little bit about the calendar for next year. So while this is working to come up on the screen, the first thing linked in the agenda is just a timeline of the events that came up until today. What we wanted you to see here is that we brought together the calendar committee. We had done a number of different teaching opportunities, some investigations to understand all the things that go into it. Because that is not something that is top of mind, we wanted to take some time and do some teaching, make sure that any decision we make is a wise one based on the expectations and needs of all the different legislations that go into making an academic calendar. With that, We also determined some priorities that came out of a number of different opportunities for feedback, whether it be the CBTF committee, teacher leader committee, or the support staff forum. We looked at opportunities to make improvements. So what were some of the priorities that came out of that? We know that we had a student present here at the board for November 1st as being a priority, as being a day off for students. So that we always look for opportunities to make that happen when we can. And then also a couple other opportunities came up. One was making sure to end semester one at winter break. There was a lot of push for that to be an end of time for one semester, and then coming back from winter break being the start of a new fresh semester. So this calendar reflects that priority. It also reflects a priority that when possible, can we extend a natural break that's already there? So one of the other changes to switch over to the calendar here, that'll be entirely too small for you to read, but I will zoom into just this March area. One of the things we noticed is that we had a PD day here on March 29th, and it made a lot of sense using that priority of extending a break to shift that over then to the 25th. So that is a change here. Our community will feel a longer break, and it does give us the opportunity for our staff to get ready, if you will, to come back and engage in the classroom on the 26th. So other than that, no other changes to this calendar for next year, other than those two small pieces. One, ending the semester, and two, moving that one date. Any questions that I can answer for you? Fantastic. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Board resolution.
Thank you. So if you've been watching the legislature, you probably have seen a lot of new bills and laws coming out regarding transgender students, and also removing some of the access and opportunities that they have. And so the district currently has a equity policy, and part of that is protecting the rights of the students that identify within our district as LGBTQIA. So this particular item is meant to protect those students and staff within the district, and provide opportunities for them to not be faced with discriminatory actions or harassment, not only within inside the district, but also within the community. And by adopting this resolution, we're hoping that we can help to protect their rights and also ensure that they're treated fairly and with dignity. So the resolution is being presented as a first read. Expecting everyone to read it at this moment, but if there are any questions, I welcome any questions that you have.
My hope with bringing this forward is certainly our ability to speak up and speak out about some of the problematic I'm sorry, I'm using, language that is appropriate for being broadcast on the internet, from the school board, when I feel deeply that this is just, there's some wrong and hurtful and bigoted, resolutions and laws being proposed in Jefferson City. It is our duty to protect our kids in this community, and to ensure that they all feel like they belong in this community and as part of this school community. And so I hope that this resolution gives some level of action behind that. I am concerned that if we wait until the end of April to approve this at our next meeting, it may be too late to get in front of some of the things that will happen when the legislature returns from spring break on Monday. So I recognize that this isn't perfect. I recognize that there's some, maybe typos in it, but I think the spirit of this resolution is solid, and I would request that my fellow board members consider adding this to our action agenda this evening.
We have in the past gone back and made type corrections to past resolutions, correct?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Do we need to make a motion to add it?
Can I just
Sure.
make a statement? First of all, I don't have to mind my words anymore. So I am so proud that we are doing this, but I am sad that we have to do this. What's happening in Jefferson City is horrific. I do want to do a shout out to Ms. Withicum, who testified, and that took a lot of courage, and you were masterful, and I couldn't be more proud to be sitting next to you and be in this work with you, and I'm sorry you had to do that. So I wholeheartedly agree with Katie and think that this should be passed tonight if at all possible.
I agree. So do we have a motion?
I move to add this to our action item agenda this evening, 7.05 or something like that.
Let's do 7.03A.
Well, we already did that for you. There we go. Thank you. Great. For all kinds of.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it is successfully added to 703B under action items. Let me make a note or I'll forget. Okay, admin communications, 401 M6.
Good evening. My name is, it's not going. Do I need to change a setting?
Try the command F1.
Command what?
F1.
I don't have an F1?
Then I can't help you.
A command F and 1? Or I'm just going to escape. Okay. Somebody else want to share on my behalf?
Dr. McGee is going to bring it up for you.
Sorry.
It won't be as pretty.
Let's go full screen.
All right, my name is Rachel Ward. I am the coordinator of assessment, data, and accountability for the district. Okay, I'm going to let you present for me because it's still not working.
You're still on.
I did let go. Oh, did I not let go? So sorry. Okay, here we go. Off to a great start. Okay. All right. Thank you for having me here this evening. I'm going to talk about our favorite topic, MSIP 6, and our accountability that has come back for us this year.
Keep talking.
Okie
I'll get
dokie.
there. Give me a minute.
Yay. All right, so this first slide here is showing us kind of where we're at, just giving you a timeline. As you guys know, may have seen in the papers and the articles, it was released for the public on the 7th. I'm here tonight to present it to the board. That's the wrong date. Then we're also going to have 2 more presentations here that we're going to dig deeper into really understanding MSIP 6 and how it's calculated and all the math behind it. Today I'm going to try to just do a quick overview and not go down too far down there. Stop me and bring me back if I do. And then we're also going to have some conversations around how this connects to our strategic plan and that work. So that's coming. This next slide, actually the next couple come from the DESE presentation. So DESE released a presentation about MSIP. So here's just what they say are some of their goals of MSIP 6 and what the APR is. So the APR stands for your annual performance report, and that is what has been released. So a couple reminders, these are talking points that they had in the media and that I will keep reiterating. We cannot compare this to previous APR reports. This is a brand new calculation. Cannot be compared, cannot be compared, cannot be compared. It will only contain 21, 22. Typically MSIP is a 3-year average. We only have this 1 year's worth of data to use. Some of the data you will see reflects that ongoing impact of the pandemic, and this APR separates status and growth, which I'll talk more about here in a second. Man, I even had it so this would slide in and highlight things. I had gotten fancy, but that's okay. I wasn't supposed to today. So here are some of the biggest changes between MSIP 5 and MSIP 6. So MSIP 5, our APR and classification score, so our percentage and our score that we get, used to be 100% performance, and now it is 70% performance and 30% continuous improvement, which is a practice from previous MSIPs, and that we are back to now with MSIP 6. Some of this biggest differences you're going to see here are what I kind of highlighted that you're going to see in some of the calculations. So student growth in the past was it kind of embedded in with status. So you could reach your status points, and then you could get a few extra points for growth, and they were stacked, and you either got all your points with status, some with growth. It was a combined score. Now they are completely separate scores. So you get your achievement score and you get your status, and then you get your growth score, so that they're not together anymore. So that's a huge difference, 2 different buckets now. The other big difference is this MPI, which is the MAP Performance Index, which I'll talk about in a second. And now we have this continuous MPI, which is a little bit different, and I have a slide to help explain that. Attendance moved. Attendance used to be just in with our performance. Now it's over here in continuous improvement. High school assessment, this is not a change for MRH. This is how we've always practiced, that when students took the class and got the credit is when they took their test. We're going to continue with that practice, but now it's a requirement. And continuous improvement, which is our MSIP, or our CSIP and our strategic plan, used to not really be a factor, and now it is a huge factor. So we're bringing that in the next couple of years. This graph I actually borrowed from a fellow data and assessment accountability partner, but this shows the difference between MPI and continuous MPI. So MPI is what they use. So you guys know kids take the MAP test. They get basic, below basic, proficient, or advanced. So what they used to be that this score band,
I'm doing it for you.
The score band right here, below basic, was worth 0 points. So if you scored in there, then your kids that were below basic got 0 points. Anyone that scored here in this basic range got 3 points, and then we got 4 and 5 points for everybody in advanced. And then they would add that all up and get you a percentage. That was your MPI. Now they're calculating using a continuous MPI. So this is that same below basic score band, but based on your score, your scale score, you could get anywhere from 1 point all the way up to 2.999 points, even if you're still below basic on the category range. So I'm sorry, this right here is included in that below basic. Then your proficient is between 3 and 4, 4 and 5, and then advanced is still just 5 points that you get across the top. So it represents that growth and the difference based on scale score rather than just a static number. So this is one of the reasons you can't compare to previous years. So that's one of the biggest changes. This is another huge change, and this is how they give us points for growth. So what they do here is this is again borrowed from a really, really smart person. I'm going to try to, essentially all these little dots are districts, and they represent, this is the average right in the middle, and they stack the districts up and figure out who's had the most growth. And then we get points anywhere from 0 to 6, 6 to 9, and 9 to 12. It used to be we got 6 points, 9 points, or 12 points. So now we will get a range inside those, and we are compared or stacked or ranked with other districts. And enough on that topic. So because of that stacking and ranking and the way the math is calculated, it is designed to create a bell curve. So it is designed to have that top, very, very top is very hard to get. Most of your scores are going to be in the middle of a bell curve. I'm sure you guys have all seen a bell curve. And I have some numbers to compare to show you that. But this slide, this next slide that's coming.
We're looking at it.
Keep going.
Any minute. Okay, great. You guys are looking at it. Great. This next slide shows very clearly, I think, the difference in how districts achieve these different status points. So these are APR percentage scores. So in 2018, so that's the last time we really had an MSIP, an APR that was calculated using MSIP 5. 3 districts were less than 50%. 6 districts were here between 50 and 70%. 219 districts were between 70 and 95%. But 320 districts were at 95% or higher. Because with MSIP 5, you got your points, you got your status. We all got up here at the top, and we're doing okay. Well, with MSIP 6, because of the calculations, it is now a bell curve. So now with 2022, you can see now you only have 4 districts that are above 94%, and 435 are in this 70 to 94%. 112 are down here in this 50 to 69%. So again, if we spread that out a little bit with bigger increments, you would see a bell curve. And that is what it is designed to be. So that little arrow represents where we are. We are in here with this 435 other districts. So again, it's 70% performance, 30% continuous improvement. So underneath performance, you've got achievement, which is math and EOC, which is all students and our student groups. You've got your growth, your success ready, so that is college and career readiness assessments and dual credit. You've got your graduation rate, your graduate follow-up. So that's kind of what we're used to, except attendance used to be over there. And now continuous improvement has our CSIP plan, climate and culture survey, a bunch of documentation and things we get to fill out, and this kindergarten readiness assessment and our ICAP, which is our individual career and academic planning document. And attendance is now over here as well. I'm trying not to make this into a huge workshop, but there are so many changes, and I'm trying to go quickly. So what I'm about to show you next is our actual scores and our numbers here, broken down from those categories I just talked about. In achievement, so this was our MPI, that continuous MPI. We had floor, approaching, on track, or target. These are the different score bands you can reach. And then growth is based into these 3 different categories. So the next slide is our scorecard for our performance. So this is 70% of our APR. So you can see we have English language arts, math, science, and social studies. This is our academic achievement. That's all status. So these top 4 are status. You have all students and student groups, the points possible, the points earned, the percentage, and our MPI, which was calculated with that continuous MPI model. So based on these scores, this shows you where we fell on that grid from above with the target, on track, and whatnot. So this is status, is what you can see up there before. Now remember, in the previous calculation method, growth would have kind of been bonus points that get added to status and get stacked together. Well, now they're separated and they're different calculations. So now we look at our growth points here. So these next 2 are growth in ELA and math. And growth is based on student growth, individual student growth from year to year. So we have all students and student growth, or student groups, and ELA and math. And you can see these points, 7.5 and 8.1 on that one slide where those dots were, and you can get between. That's where those numbers came from with the stacking there, percentage, and where we fell based on our growth points. Also with performance, we have our success ready, so that's our college and career readiness assessments, and our dual credit or advanced credit. So we did meet target for both of those, graduation rate and our graduate follow-up. Graduate follow-up is that 180-day follow-up. Oh, next slide. So a couple things I noticed here, some wins. Our ELA achievement status was on target. Our CCR assessments, our advanced credit, and our graduation rate, all of those were on target. Some opportunities for growth are growth. All of our students and our student groups in both ELA and math are growth points there. The next is 30%. So this is that 30% continuous improvement bucket. So our improvement plan, which is our CSIP and our strategic plan, all of that, we met that. We need to keep making sure we meet that because that's a big chunk there. It's 30 points. Then we have this LEA response to standards, which is going to be a big component. We don't have that yet. That's coming next year. And then these other pieces, climate and culture survey, kindergarten readiness assessment, the individual career and attendance, CT expansion, which was bonus points, and then these documentations, meeting our deadlines and things like that. So based on these scores, some wins. We did our climate and culture survey. We did the kindergarten readiness assessment, which we had already had in place and was doing. Our ICAP, timely submissions, we got all those points. We did get all of those points. Our opportunities for growth would be definitely attendance. We all know that that's been impacted in the past couple of years, and we're paying attention to that and trying to see if we can improve that and get that back up to that status point. We need to make sure we're prepared to respond to those standards that are coming next year, and we need to make sure our strategic plan and our CSIP is in order and ready to go to give us that 30 points next year. So there's our final pretty little scorecard. Our performance points tallied up to be 85.1, continuous improvement 92.3, and remember that 70%, 30%, total weighted score ends up to be 87.2%. What are we doing? We're doing strategic planning, kindergarten readiness assessment, our ICAPs. We have a partnership with STEMDI and WashU to help us with our math, letters training for our reading, universal administration of the ACT that gets us, helps us with that CCR readiness points, also gives our students the opportunity to take the ACT. We follow up with our graduates. We have pretty good follow-up rate in the sense that we can contact everybody. We have many data meetings and setting goals. Lots and lots of building level data meetings. So we're going to continue doing those and keep working hard and digging into this data specifically with our buildings. And lots of attendance meetings and committees happening this year. And again, what's coming will be even deeper, more fun, and making connections. What questions do you have for me?
Rachel, I'm curious what surprised you most in this data?
Good question. I think the ELA growth surprised me a little bit. I had seen that there wasn't a ton of growth. I just had not. I hadn't seen decline, and so it was just interesting to see that staying static or declining both don't mean growth. And so it was just a different way to be like, okay, we have to make sure, just because that's never been an area we've kind of always met status. And so we've just kind of like, oh, great. And so it was like, oh, that's a new area we need to pay attention to, I think I mean, attendance was not great, but we kind of already had known that. So I think everything else, I was shocked when we didn't get our points for timely submission, but we took care of that because that was a record-keeping error on their end, on DESI's end, not our end. But once we got past that shock, that was my first initial shock, was wait, what? No, we took care of that, so, yeah.
So because we can't compare.
Yes.
How do we compare? So we can't compare to
Yes.
what the numbers were and all of that, but
yeah.
Tell me what 87, I know 87 doesn't put us in those 4 districts in the bell curve.
Yep.
I look at 87 and I think, okay, I'm happy with that. We have room for growth. I definitely know we have room for growth. How do you look at it?
So I am excited you asked that, because in the next couples, Benita had to stop me, but I was trying to compare as much as I could compare, because some of the calculations are calculated the same way in some of the same, graduation rate. And so I had slides for everything that could be compared, all ready to go. And she's like, hold on, we're not there yet. So I am very excited to do that work and to look at where we can talk about how that looks. But when I first look at that, I mean, that is in the bell curve. It's not at the top, very, very, very top, but it's not at the lower end either, and it's over the hump. So exactly what you said. I mean, I'm proud of that number, but there's obviously more work to do, and there's definitely room to grow. and improve. And if we don't, that number will go down. I'll just say that too.
Rachel, thank you for your intensity and passion for the data. I think as MRH is moving to become an even more data-driven organization, I'm wondering what your perceptions are and potentially recommendations are for how we can make this not just something that, you know, Rachel Ward carries, but that, you know, more of our administrators, our teacher leaders, our, you know, everybody in the buildings is carrying forward.
That has been a theme that I've been noticing. That is something that comes up in these data meetings, in the conversations, MSIP points, and sometimes we have to help make the connections, but it is, I will just say that MSIP 6 has been, it's woven through a lot of what we're talking about now and is impacting a lot. And I do feel like it is a shared responsibility and understanding at this point. I think I present it and I send it, you know, I report it and send off some of it, but it's not, it is definitely a shared, I think everyone feels the weight of it. I definitely do. I do not feel like this is my data that I'm bringing here, so.
Good. And I think, you know, obviously this is an important aspect of our responsibility, so I think continuing to bring forward investments that we maybe need to make to ensure that that continues is important. I also just, you know, again, perennially love to say, I really don't put a whole lot of weight on a measurement program that still has gaps of, you know, things that we're being measured against that are blank on the document. I think I commend the grace of this team to respond to the last minute, you know, curveballs that are thrown constantly in these processes every year. And so regardless of what the score sheet says at the end, I appreciate that you are all doing what is right for kids and what is right to push our, you know, our kids to realize their full potential, regardless of what these numbers say. And I know that our educators here are doing that.
Well stated. Thank you. Rachel, thanks for shepherding this.
Yeah.
I know it's, I know it is a heavy lift for you, but you take something that is very difficult to understand and make it easily digestible for this board. So thank you for that.
Thank you. We'll miss you.
And I do think we'll then have an opportunity next year when we get our goal presentations from our building leaders to weave in all of these goals. Okay.
Oh yeah, they're,
yes, all this.
She's not gonna, yes, they're in there. They're mentioned a lot.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. MSIP 6 update.
You can see the trend. This is another item that aligns with MSIP 6, standard DB3, which aligns with climate and culture. So we brought the initial climate and culture data to the board. We are administering the climate and culture survey again. It's just a note that it will be pushed out to families, students, and staff April 3rd through the 7th so that we can compare from the first administration to the second. They did send and provide the district, finally, some disaggregated data, but there wasn't a cover sheet to explain what the information is or how to use it. So we are looking at it to make meaning of it and to make sure that we are pulling out those areas that we identify as growth. One of the areas that we definitely are addressing is when we do survey our families, whether it's for climate and culture or anything else, we are sharing that information back out, whether it's in the newsletter or being presented out to the board. So we will continue to do that and continue to use the data to make some adjustments. We do know from the data that was received during the first administration that we have work to do around SEL and bullying, and so now we're in the budgeting process, and those are part of the conversations. How are you using your building funds to support the goals and the needs of your buildings? And so we are seeing some of those asks come out and come up. The elementary school actually will be asking to add the bullying component to the second steps SEL curriculum, which the board approved last year. So we're excited that we're seeing some shifts in alignment based on the data we're receiving. So what Ms. Ward shared is really part of the work we're trying to do, where culture is a part of the data that we do and how we look at it for decision making. So stay tuned for April 3rd through the 7th to give us feedback on climate and culture. And that's all I have. Questions? Statements? Thank you. Strategic planning update, Dr. McKee.
All right, good evening all. Quick updates. I have two things to report to you about our strategic planning, and then just, again, giving you a timeline of things that are going to happen in the future. So the first piece of the puzzle is just reminding everyone that they can access the MRHschools.net website, and on the website, if you were to pull up the programs at the top, and then slide on over to strategic planning, you'll notice a couple things that are there. The update for meeting number 5, it happened on March the 9th. What you'll see there is we went over our concepts related to Portrait of a Graduate. We also linked some of that conversation to our revised core value definitions, vision, mission, and gave a first draft of our priorities and goals. And then we looked for feedback from the steering committee on that. So we went through our agenda there as a whole, but I also want to say, beautiful screenshot, only one person was prepared, that guy. All right. And then, I am that guy. And then, but most importantly, I want everybody to know that they can access the resources that were used during the workshop, so that way people can see the thoughts as they're being generated, and link all the things there so that way they get a chance to understand where we are in the process. Now, I'm going to back out of that one just for a moment and say that I just today received our focus group feedback. So this is brand new. And what we have here is just focus groups were held. Our board was a part of that as the March 2nd board workshop. And what we have here is just compiled who were all the focus groups. We had a little over 10 focus groups that were held throughout the sort of week, if you will, from 3-1 to 3-6. And then there, I linked in the slide deck that was used, and then the folder of all the content. So what we asked our consultant to do is type up all of the feedback, so we have all of that available. It is anonymous, so you know, it is just simply the feedback without which group it came from or what role that person had. So we get to take all the feedback at face value. So we'll be using this at our central office meeting on Monday, along with a number of other resources that we're moving forward. So then that brings me to our timeline. So I don't know if you know this, but May is right around the corner. And with May being right around the corner, that means that we are intending to bring you a completed strategic plan by that May meeting. Now, which May meeting is to be determined, but by a May meeting. So with that in mind, we do know that we have one more steering committee meeting happen on April 13th, and then things begin getting finalized. Things become real. So what's really exciting about that is shortly after that April 13th meeting, things go to graphic designers, and then graphic designers get a chance to make it pretty and make it ours. So we're really excited about bringing you that final piece of the puzzle here coming up very soon. So again, the two things I want to make sure you knew about, that the March 9th notes and agenda and all the focus group feedback is available for everybody, and that May is coming. So that's going to be very exciting to bring you a completed strategic plan.
Thank you. Instruction update.
Okay, hello again. You might have noticed there is more activity out front in Building A. Things are moving along quite nicely. A huge benchmark was accomplished this week. The excavation for the northwest corner was completed. So that corner was completed. And if you look in the construction update that I will drop on here soon, I wrote a new one this evening right before the meeting. In the photo deck, you'll see pictures of the excavation, and then you'll see pictures of the formwork. So the formwork was even going up today in the rain, so I was impressed that they were out there working in the rain. I know. So that was great. I think they also feel some of the urgency that we do in getting this done. We have a pour schedule. So once that foundation wall is poured, we'll pour slab on grade. Once that's done, walls start going up down there, which is super exciting because once that happens, we can start pouring the concrete decking for the second floor. So on our construction walk yesterday, Mike, Trico, and I all walked that space along with Courtney and Clark, and it's starting to feel like an actual building now. We can clearly see the definition of the classrooms, the offices, the weight room, the wrestling room, which will become the storm shelter. So it's starting to get exciting now. Once we're under roof, which I think will come sooner than perhaps some are predicting right now, things are going to start cruising. So we're really excited. Here are the numbers for you. We've got about $6 million to go on the project. We do have a couple things that are responsibility of the district, which would be that water connection that we're still trying to get put in place. The good thing about that water connection with Missouri American Water is that we can continue moving forward on building A. It won't impede. It will just slow down reconstruction of Lohmeyer and removal of some rock that we'll use to backfill. So not a big deal, but we do want to get that moving as soon as possible so that it doesn't become a hindrance. And furniture is responsibility of the district as long as the technology. So those are things that will be in either this year's budget or written in the following year's budget as we get closer to interior finishes. Inside this building, West Stack, I believe, if I heard right in our meeting yesterday, will open potentially on April 1st when we come back from spring break, which is months ahead of schedule. So finally something on this job happened on schedule, if not ahead of schedule. So I'm not promising it yet, but I believe that we will have those restrooms open at least before the end of the school year, which is exciting. Nice. The flex space, Sage will be moving that into that. I believe, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, that first week of April, Sage will be moving into the flex space down there, which means we'll be able to finish the demo and get the choir room done. So lots of exciting stuff. Any questions?
We will be moving in April 1st. They'll turn it over to us to get our crews in.
Yes, we have to do all the waxing and all the things. So there you go.
Thank you.
Any questions? Ed, our favorite part.
My laptop's telling me I'm connected, but I don't see it. Rachel. We had a disconnect.
Can't wait till we have our own technology in the administrative building.
Oh yeah, we got to put tech over there too.
Yeah.
Better Wi-Fi than we have here.
You want to click it for me?
Say, your sons do get to involve in developing that plaque.
Please hold.
They rose to the moment.
Now I can't even get the menu top.
Oh, plug it in.
Here, I can't even get the selection of that.
Yeah.
I don't trust it.
That's the problem with the laptop, I'm sure. I can't.
What application is playing this?
I just uploaded it in before.
Where's it?
I could go to it was on the agenda. I could basically just say what Chris said. I can't really add to anything. This is just the embodiment of what he told you. So we're going to start out here.
That's a great shot.
So this is Langston Building A. Yeah, this is the day that the excavation began in earnest. About a week and a half ago, I'd say. And that's all gone, that third pile. So this is part of the team putting in all the utility connections. That gives you an idea of what the office space will look like in the lower section. I couldn't resist peeking down the elevator shaft. But yes, there's going to be an elevator. And more of the utility connections that are in place. This is in the Langston Commons, which they're using as kind of a staging area for all the concrete and cement work that's required. This is nearly unrecognizable as the fine arts wing that Chris was telling you about. The layout is so much more logical. It was kind of a catacomb situation before. Kind of difficult to get around, but hopefully you can tell by looking at this the expanse of rooms that they're going to have for instrumental and vocal music. So it's really impressive. It's a sea change from before. So. And then more drone stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the Chris Holzer Show.
All right, I'm still going, aren't I? I was enthralled, so let me get this financial statements summary. So the February financial statements. Go through this quickly. 86% of our revenue comes from local sources, which includes our taxpayers, which is greatly appreciated. Oh, you want me to do that? Yes. Sorry, I get ahead of myself. So our operating revenue is just under 20 million as of February 28th, 82% of the budget, and we're a bit higher in collections at this time of the year than we were last year at this time. Here's our expenses, salary and benefits, the investment in our people. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the budget presentation next. So I won't read this to you, but our expenses, again, are 78% of those for our employees, and those expenses as a percentage are a little bit down, which is interesting, but are tracking right around where we would expect. The athletics budgets, again, we're bringing tennis online. That's a spring sport, so we're starting to see that program at its infancy right now. So we're excited to see what that looks like. And overall, we're right around 14.5 million, which is about 50% of the budget, and right on track as compared to other years. Here's a graphical look. Our fund balances at the end of last fiscal year, fiscal 22, were 53%. We're dropping that about 10% to 43.2%, which is a planned spend down as we have reprioritized some things in our finances in this budget. Any questions? I will say district finances are strong. I always forget to say that part. The slides don't always portray that, but we are in a good position right now, and confident that we'll make it through the end of the year, if not on budget, beating this budget. So.
Thank you.
Just a second. It's a little clunky. Okay, I don't have a whole lot additional to share with you this month. We've been spending a lot of time. Yes. We've been spending a lot of time doing projections and calculations and CBTF. You'll remember we brought that recommendation to you last month. Now it's my job to figure out how to fit all that into the budget. So here's where the big puzzle comes in. And quite honestly, it's just, it's a bit of a heavier lift than is typical. So things are moving a little slower than I would like. However, also yesterday was a statutory deadline for the collector to get us the preliminary reassessment numbers. I just ran a calculation on those this afternoon. It looks like assessments are up about 20%. So that number will move around a little bit before we get the ones that are approved by the Board of Equalization, which won't be until July, which is after we set the budget, which is a whole thing. But we've got the estimates right now, and CPI has also been stated at 6.5%, which I think is probably a little bit low, but that's where they're putting it. We'll only receive a maximum of 5%. As a result of that 20% growth, because of the Hancock 2 amendment, so these numbers will move as I plug in the actual preliminary assessment numbers. Oh, that's not what I was expecting, excuse me. Okay, these numbers are the same as they were last month, as are these. So expenditures. This is where things are interesting. I mean, we made a very aggressive but necessary move with our teachers and to make sure that the salaries we are paying them are competitive. For a lot of years, we've been using the word median. I think it's time we move away from the word median and we start thinking about competitive, regardless of where it falls on that 5-number summary that we do. Median may be there, but it may not be. So it's a bit of a mind shift, I think, to start thinking about competitiveness as opposed to just where we fall on a scale. While money is a very tangible thing, how people feel about money and how that relates to their profession and their craft is very, very different by person. So we have to consider those psychological effects too as we plod through these budgets, especially with the salaries and benefits budgets. Brings me to benefits. Benefits, we've gotten a little bit more clarity too since I published this slideshow. Right now we're looking at about a 10% increase in insurance premiums, which is extraordinary. It's not the highest we've seen, but last year we were around 5.5%, so it is a marked change. I always jokingly say things don't get cheaper. Well, this is proof of that. So there are some options that the CBTF is beginning to explore. We have until about June to make those choices that could potentially net some savings, at least in what we're paying out in our insurance premiums on behalf of our employees. So I'm looking forward to moving in the next couple of months to working with the CBTF and then working with the teacher body and support staff and administrators. Insurance touches all of us, and it again also impacts all of us differently. So we do have a menu of choices. We've been working with Willis Towers Watson, which is our insurance servicer, and we'll bring you more information on that as we get it. So while we have teachers figured out, we do not yet have support staff and administrators figured out. So that is where I'm at right now. I'm currently doing, it's countywide, but we choose about 12 or 13 schools that we compare ourselves to as our nearest competitors. So we're trying to make sure that before we apply a blanket increase to any one group, that we are doing so in a way that makes sense, and that, well, to put it simply, we're trying to pay our folks as much as we possibly can that this budget will hold reasonably. And if that's taking a little bit longer than I had originally anticipated, it's a lot of numbers. But we'll get it worked out, and I hope to have a little bit clearer look for you in April. Any questions? Very well.
Thank you. Okay. Board committee reports.
Where do you want us to start?
Well,
go ahead.
You know what, let's start with Maria.
So I attended my last CBTF meeting, which
Thank you so much.
I was really feeling grateful last night. And I don't have to, first of all, I didn't have time to put a summary in, but you knew I probably wasn't going to do it anyway. And, but most importantly, it was a very robust conversation around what Krista spoke about, which is the healthcare benefits for our staff. we have the right people on that committee right now to handle that conversation, because you need the level of seasoned veterans that understand this and can work through it and process fast. And then the new perspective is also very helpful as well. So thanks for managing that. Chris McGee, thanks for putting up with me in that one yesterday. Chris and I had a great time. So thank you. That's all there is to report.
Any updates on the board scholarship committee?
Yeah, we had a very successful fundraising kickoff event at the Blue Duck. We have some fundraising results there in the minutes that are very preliminary prior to us sending out the formal solicitation. So that's going out from now until spring break. We have extended the deadline, the fundraising deadline, to April 20th, which falls in line with when we need to start making decisions about the number of scholarships we can award. I feel like I'm missing something here. I guess I could just open the minutes. Our goal is $5,000. Oh, I guess make your donations. That's the other thing I want to say. If you haven't made your contribution yet to the scholarship.
And can you tell us how to do that real quick?
You can do it online if you wish, or you
There
can...
was a scan code, Brand.
Then or you can give a check made out to the school district, to our board secretary here, if you're interested. Would you like the URL?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't I send an email to all of our board members as a reminder after this meeting with the link. It's also available from the district website if you click on the picture of Nelson Mitten's face.
Thank you.
And while I'm at it, I'll give the report for the Legislative Advocacy Committee. The committee has been attending the monthly advocacy meetings with some of our neighboring districts, as well as the MSBA weekly lunch and learns throughout the month of March. I think it is not an overstatement to say that this current session has the potential to impact every area of our operations, our budget, our enrollment, our curriculum, things that we're able to say to students. Katie really summed it up pretty well. It could be really devastating to education in Missouri. We have been invited by MSBA to participate in their Legislative Advocacy Day on March 28th. So I will be headed to Jeff City. I've made some appointments with both our senator and representative, as well as some of those legislators that represent adjacent districts that we were gerrymandered out of, just to keep our relationship with them. I have put in a summary of our legislative priorities that I will plan to share during those conversations. Certainly open to feedback on any of those when you've had a chance to review them. We want to keep it high level and simple, but really reinforce that most of the bills that are moving right now will do harm to our district. And we want to assert that with strength and conviction.
Thank you. Any other reports? Okay. I did attend the SSD meeting. I attended it when I first joined the board, and it went about the same. It was an election night again. I always tend to get those, and they were not able to reach an agreement that night, as happened the first time. So there will be a new vote, I think, in June. The candidates have to go through the application process again, and then they will vote. So I guess I will attend that meeting and to report back to you guys who's been elected our new rep. So good times. Any other reports?
I don't have reports from calendar committee, but you have seen the work of that committee, and I was unable to attend the safety committee meeting today, but I will get the update from Dr. Dietrich later and plan to attend next month.
One more thing before I move on. I sort of forgot that there's an MSBA committee that Katie and I serve on. Just wanted to surface that we have been in discussion about attending the CUBE conference in Chicago as an alternative to MSBA. That will be happening in September.
I think we should definitely try it, and then, you know, we can decide later, hey, we thought this one was better, or that one was better, but try as many different things and see where our board feels more comfortable. Awesome.
Joe's Place was canceled this month, so I don't have a report for them.
Okay, calendar of events. So we have the spring play coming up, which is exciting. Our students always do such a great job. We've got the 4th grade concert on the 22nd, MSBA's virtual legislative lunch and learn on the 24th. Don't forget about that. The general election, April 4th.
Congratulations, everyone. It doesn't involve us.
We have, as of right now, we have a work session on the 6th. A student-led public forum on April 11th, exciting. Wellness committee meeting on April 17th, and Joe's Place meeting on April 19th. And then our next Board of Education meeting is on the 20th. Of course, everybody be prepared for spring break. I forget every year. Does anybody have any other events that they want to mention?
The coaches are giving out new calendars. So I have a track calendar and a baseball calendar that usually do not coincide with the one that's on the district. Who should I be sending those to? So if the coaches are not giving them to the right people, or even if they are, who can I forward those on to so that these can match some of them?
That's a good question.
And they're changing always.
You can send them to Ed.
All right, Mr. Ed. Baseball, track and field, like I get daily, the parents are getting daily updates, and I'm just wondering, do you get those daily updates? Because I'm guessing not.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I've spent the last week working with our athletic director,
Okay.
on a streamlined calendar system. So
I hope he's getting one too.
we're making progress every day.
Okay. And please don't think that everyone is doing their job. I feel like the coaches they're hitting the parents, and I just want to make sure that the calendar can reflect all of that.
Well, and I have to imagine with the weather changing how
Right,
we have to play on the date.
Yeah, we have 3 games, 1 tomorrow and 2 on Saturday. They've just been randomly changed. So
It's a bit of a chess match there.
as did the first track and field invitational this weekend got moved.
Okay, on to action items, construction change orders.
I move to approve order 28 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 702, academic calendar changes.
Move to
2023-2024.
move to approve the changes to the 23-24 academic calendar as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 703, copier lease.
Move to approve the copier refinanced lease and printer copier maintenance agreement as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 703A.
I move to adopt the resolution by the Maplewood Richmond Heights School District Board of Education to designate the MRH Administrative Office as the Maria J. Langston Administrative Center as presented.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do you
have to abstain? I don't think so.
You don't have to. I asked Cindy. No, you don't. She said you could actually.
Motion carries. All right. 703B.
Yeah, I move to adopt the Maplewood Richmond Heights School District Board of Education resolution in support of our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning students, caregivers, and educators as presented in this evening.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Maria Langston, would you like to take us into executive session?
Okay, I move to enter executive session in accordance with section 610.021 subsections 3, 9, and 13 and section 610.022 of the revised statutes of Missouri on March 16, 2023 for the following specific reasons. Personnel matters.
Second.
Okay, can I get a roll call?
Ms. Langston?
Yes.
Ms. Whittingham?
Yes.
Ms. Kaufman?
Yes.
Ms. Goldsmith?
Yes.
Mr. Monroe?
Yes. Okay, motion carries. 8:50.
Sure.
All right.
Before everybody leaves, just one quick thing. Thank you. That was completely surprised and wonderful. And I missed saying something I should have said, which was happy birthday to Mike Dietrich.
What a way to spend it.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.